Our next speaker is the Honorable Lenny Eliason, NACo immediate past president and county commissioner at Athens County, Ohio. Lenny became NACo's immediate president of NACo's 77th annual conference. As NACo president, Elias institutionalized his successful Healthy Counties Presidential Initiative to NACo committee status with the creation of the Healthy Counties Advisory Board. He currently serves as vice chair. A member of NACo's board of directors since 2005, Eliason is executive committee liaison to the Deferred Compensation Advisory Committee and Programs and Services Committee, and is a member of Labor and Employment Steering Committee and the Essential County Technology Subcommittee. He's busy. Eliason was first elected as Athens County Commissioner in 1998. Let's give him a warm welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate those kind remarks. When you say busy, yeah, life was a lot busier last year. This year it's a lot nicer. I want to begin by saying thank you to several people. But first, thank you to you all for your public service. Because we never get thank you enough. You heard last night there's no higher calling than serving your fellow man. And there isn't. By making the country work at the local, state, and federal level, it takes time, it takes energy, and it takes people that are willing to sacrifice. And we all talk about being underpaid as public servants, and it's so true. I've spent 20 years in the private sector, and I go around the country and see a lot of people who don't make a whole lot of money being in public service, myself included, because I know I can make twice as much and 3 times as much in the private sector. But I got into public service because I wanted to make my community a better place. So thank you for making your communities a better place and being involved. I want to acknowledge a couple of your colleagues, though, that are very dear to me. First of all, Jerry Highland from Fairfax County, Harrison Moody from Dinwiddie County, and Greg Castano from Arlington County, all serve on the board of directors representing you at NACo. But one other name I want to bring out that people don't talk about a lot, and that's Walter Tejada. Walter and I, from Arlington County, went to CLI together, the County Leadership Institute. And it's a great example of what happens in NACo. You get a lot of friends. You have a chance to meet people from different places, different viewpoints, different walks of life, and you get a chance to form friendships because you're working on a common interest. You're working on county issues, on making county government better for the people. And county government's different throughout this country. We're called supervisors, we're called commissioners, we're called freeholders, we're called police jurors, we're called county judges. But we all serve the same function. We all serve as the administrative function at the county level, delivering services to people. When I talk to school children, I tell them this is how you look at county government. You take your arm and you put your arm out. Federal government is the upper arm. State government is the middle arm. County government is the hand, because we touch everything on a daily basis. Now, they can't work separately. The hand won't work if the arm's not working, the upper arm's not working. They all have to work in concert. And when they work in concert, it's a beautiful thing. Now, we had a lot of gridlock in Washington, so the upper arm's not working real well. They shifted down the middle arm, and it's not working real well either at times. Some are working better than others. And those at the county level are struggling because we can't get a clear view. But your participation will help all that, and you need to be involved. I appreciate all of you that are involved already in NACo, taking the time to be involved, but you need to be more involved. It's our goal to get one person from every county on all of our committees. So take the time to be involved. We're a grassroots organization that works from the ground up, and we represent your viewpoint at the national level and what's important in Washington, D.C., because it's important to you. They need to hear your voices. You heard the speaker talk about giving him ideas. Paint that picture. A picture tells the better story than any number of emails you can write, any number of letters you can write. When you start to paint a picture, and I'll use one from South Dakota that we took back. I was out in South Dakota speaking to the South Dakota Association of Counties, and we're touring the area after the speech. We went to a campground. And a campground owner was spending $100,000 a year cutting down his trees around his campground. So imagine having a campground here in beautiful Virginia and having to cut down your trees because the National Forest Service is not taking care of proper forest management and an infestation of the pine borer beetle. Now you talk about being counterproductive. You talk about taking money out of a community. And you heard letters about how ineffective the Forest Service, and they write all this stuff, and it doesn't work. But when we took that story back to DC and said, look, this is an example of what's going on. You paint this beautiful picture about how troubling this is for this guy, how he's wasting his profits because you're not doing your job, and guess what happened? They improved their forest management practices, they started taking care of the trees, and they stopped the infestation from spreading. Just because of a picture. Those are powerful stories to tell. And those are things that you can help your speaker, and you can help your federal legislators, and your state legislators make good decisions for you. So try to paint those pictures. Before I get on with the gist of my remarks, I want to talk about Jim Campbell. You know, when you go around the country, you have a chance to meet a lot of executive directors. There are some good ones, there are some so-so ones, there are some ones that should have retired years ago. And there are some that you look at and you say, there's a gentleman and a scholar, someone you look for when you need advice, and Jim's one of those guys. You're very lucky here in Virginia to have an executive director like Jim. I hope you plan many more years, Jim. So. If this was last year, I'd talk about my Healthy Counties initiative, but I don't get to do that anymore. I do want to spend 2 minutes on it, though, because it's critical to the future of this country. We spend 80% of our healthcare dollar on the treatment of preventable disease. Now think about that. We are what we eat. Can't make it any simpler than that. The USDA finally got it mostly right. They went from the pyramid that you can't understand on what you're eating to a plate, and talking about eating vegetables and fruit and protein. Talk about a balanced diet. In our county, we've had a couple of seminars, we've gone through programs and teaching people how to cook, how to eat. I'm a big guy, always been a big guy. When the speaker sat down, he said his neighbor's from St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland. I went to Holy Name in Cleveland, we were rivals. So football goes back a long way in my family. In college, I played rugby. But I've always been lucky with my health till last year. I had a serious illness, overcome it all, and back on top. But the interesting thing is when I was in the hospital, the nurse said, "You don't take any medication?" No. Well, you're 57 years old. You should be on 3.5 medications by this time in your life. And I said, why? Because that's what the Western diet does. So we need to look at what we eat. There's plenty of studies out there. Go to livehealthyappalachia.com and see what we're doing in Athens County. I'll just give you my numbers real quick. In the last 18 months, I've lost 47 pounds, dropped my cholesterol 50 points, and I don't have diabetes, don't have any of those issues. Got a little high blood pressure issue I'm dealing with as a result of my infection. But the thing is, I'm living healthy by choice now, not by chance. That's the thing to remember. If we all start living healthy by choice and doing the proper things, we will save ourselves healthcare dollars, and we don't have to debate what kind of healthcare coverage we have. Because we have an epidemic of problems in this country that we can personally control. But enough about last year. On to this year. We have a new executive director at NACo. His name's Matt Chase. Those of you that are in the development organizations, he was the previous executive director of NATO, National Association of Development Organizations. Matt spent 21 years around Washington. He's replacing Larry Nake, who did a tremendous job for us. He made NACo a great organization. well-respected, but I think Matt is going to take us to much greater heights. When you look at what Matt wants to do, we are a financially sound organization, but we're going to be much more effective as we continue to work and lobby on your behalf and continue to do things for you to make sure you can effectively lobby. Matt's going to focus on what he calls the 5 R's. That's relationships, research, resources, responsiveness, and results. Because he's going to continue to emphasize our research capability. I heard a couple of people the other day talk about they rely on NACo for information. They rely on NACo for results that they can use. Those are the kind of programs we're going to continue to make better, because if we don't do that, you're not going to be effective and you're not going to be a member. We had a governor just the other day leave the National Governors Association. He challenged all of his local officials in his state to say, what value are you getting from your state associations, from your local associations? Why are we spending taxpayer dollars on this? You got to have answers for it. I go back with that answer in Ohio, and we have a healthcare consortium in Ohio. And we started this 11 years ago, started working on it. My county became a member 7 years ago, but I was a founding member of the organization. In the last 7 years, our average healthcare increase, being a member of the consortium, has been 5.5%. Now the trend in healthcare, now it's down to about 9.5%, I think, for next year, but it's been 11 to 12. So when you look at the differential between 5.5 and 11% increase, I can tell every constituent in my county, look how much money I've saved by being part of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. Those are the kind of things you can go back to your constituents with and do things with. Now, we have some great programs at NACo that you can help your constituents save money too. One of the things I want to talk to you about is our U.S. Communities program, which is a joint purchasing program. We take advantage of nationally bid contracts and let everyone that's a member participate. But the key to it is that your nonprofits can participate as well. So not only can your county government save money, your schools can save money, your local nonprofits can save money just because of your involvement with NACo. If you've got questions, stop by our booth. Catch me, I'll be around all day today and tonight. I was in Louisiana this last few days before this. Came home and picked up my lovely wife who's joined me on this trip. I want to make sure I acknowledge her because I can't do the things I do without her. So she's been the backbone of my life for 40 years. And came here to talk to you about NACo. NACo does a lot of great things, but the participation with you is what's most important, because we can help you in a lot of ways. We can give you information. Our goal is to make you better, effective commissioners and supervisors and county officials. But our goal is to make sure we're doing things what's right for the country. And we're not always going to agree. We have differing viewpoints, but when we come together and talk to each other and work out the solutions. And one of the things that's been new for us, and you heard about earlier about the sequestration of the fiscal cliff, we actually put out a PowerPoint on the website, sent it out to the state association, so if you haven't seen it, go to NACo.org, pull it out. Common sense stuff you can share with people to make them understand what's going on. Because we're debating a federal budget that people don't have a concept about. Now here's the thing, we could wipe out 100% of discretionary federal spending. You can take 100% of it away. Well, that means CDBG is going to be gone. That means local bridge programs are going to be gone. That means programs that you combine with the federal government to help build a better community are going to be gone. We can take that all away. That's only about 20% of the total federal budget. We aren't going to come close to solving the problem by wiping out every dollar of discretionary spending. And we'll put our counties, our cities, our towns in turmoil. So we have to make that point to our federal legislators. We have to demand action from them. We have to give them ways to tell the story of what's important to us. Take the time to do that. Because when you take the time, they will understand and they will listen. I love the illustration that the speaker used about being in charge and a whole lot of people under you, nobody listening. I feel that way a lot of times when I go to DC. I spend a lot of time lobbying on your behalf, and they don't always listen. But if we paint a good picture to them, they'll listen. Because we're the ones that elect them. This is a representative democracy. We've all been elected or appointed to represent the people that we live with and we serve. And they do the same thing. And I always remind them when they say, well, it's not important to talk to your county officials. I said, yeah, it's the same people elected me, elected you. And I'm a whole lot closer. You only come back to the district once in a while. I'm there every day. They stop me at the grocery store. They call me up at home. We can influence a whole lot of people, and we can make this thing work. Take advantage of the power that you have. Chris Rogers, our new president, has a couple of initiatives that I want to talk to you about. First is smart justice. We cannot continue to incarcerate at the rate we're doing in this country. We have the largest population of incarcerated people in the entire world. It's costing us millions of dollars a day to continue to incarcerate. We have to educate, we have to have better jobs, we have to get people out of the environment. We cannot continue to keep putting mentally ill people in jail because we have no place else to do it. We have to look at pre-sentencing programs, we have to look at post-sentencing programs. We have to get people back and make them productive citizens. The truly people that need to be incarcerated to keep our communities safer should be incarcerated. We have to continue to look at what's the best way to make our communities safe, what's the best way to be effective. I go back and use my county as a great example. When I took office 15 years ago, we spent $1.7 million in the operation of our jail and our sheriff's department. Next year's budget is going to be $3.5 million. That's not inflation, folks. That's a shift from the state to the county in prisoners. That's an increase in laws. That's an increase in felonies. We have a new public defender in the state of Ohio, and he starts talking about the fact that over the last 10 years, we've had a 3,000% increase in paper felonies. But we at the local level put the burden on our taxpayers to pay for those people. So we have to become smarter about what we're doing. We can't just keep saying we're tough on crime. We've got to get rid of that tough on crime slogan. We've got to see we're more effective with crime. We're making our communities a safer place. We have to point those stories out to them. So Chris is going to work on that process this next year, giving you the ability to take those stories, giving the information you need, giving you best practices from other states. Go around and look at what your state does comparing to other states. I've been using this story for a long time in Ohio. Minnesota has the lowest per capita incarceration rate of anybody around. Now, anybody think Minnesota's a dangerous place to go live? Then why do they have so few people incarcerated? Because they're smart about what they're doing. We have to learn from their example and move it along. Collaboration and working with the courts, working with our legislators, we can continue to do that. The next initiative Chris has is what he's calling Next Generation. Us old-timers aren't going to be around much longer. So we have to pave the way for the next generation. We have to get the youth involved. I challenge everybody out there to go down the street and ask 10 people you do not know what a county supervisor does. Now, if you can get 4 people that know what you do, I'll give you $100. Now, you got to give me their names so I can call them, so you don't set me up. But the past 2 years, I've given that offer out every speech I've made. Haven't had anybody take me up on it. Because they don't know what you do. We don't teach local government. We teach federal government. We teach international government. We teach state government a little bit. So we're going to continue to educate. We've been working on this initiative for a couple of years. We have programs attached to our website you can go out and see and teach. You get people to understand what you do and educate the children. Educate the adults, because they're the ones that are voting. But if we educate the children, that's the first step to educating the results. When you think about recycling in this country, what happened with recycling? 25 years ago, we didn't recycle at all. But we got a program that got involved with children. And the children started to come home and say, hey, what about this? What about this? And eventually, people responded, and we're recycling more and more. So the more we do it, the better off we'll be. The last initiative Chris has that I want to talk about is cybersecurity. In this world, there is no greater threat to us in local government than attacks on our IT systems. Election night, this started coming out, and somebody started to say, what happened? We had some counties who could not post their election results because hackers from Russia had tied up their system. So people thought they were manipulating the election results to make them come out a certain way because there was no transparency in the election. It is so easy to get on a computer and tie up somebody's system. Another one story that happened just recently is you had an employee who didn't pay a bill from an online transaction, and a collection agency tied up all the sheriff's department's phone lines. So they couldn't take any calls or make any calls, all because this employee didn't pay the bill. The sheriff got on the line with the company and said, what are you doing? He said, you can't find me and I got every right to do this. So imagine how simple it is to take down your operations. What will happen to the electric grid if it goes down? You know, we all experienced electric problems with the derecho that went through. So think about those problems. So we have to take sure we're making sure that we're prepared, making sure we're taking care of that. So Chris is going to continue to work on that this year and continue to make sure that we stay aware of these things. He started a cybersecurity task force. So if you're interested in participating, make sure you get your contact information either into Chris, give it to me, give it to one of your board directors, and we'll make sure that you get the information you need so that you can go out there and promote cybersecurity awareness, because we have to do these things. We have to take care of ourselves first. We continue to take care of others. One other program I want to talk about is our prescription drug card program. Prescription drug card program is a great program we have that we have a chance for you to save some money on your prescription drugs. Ideally, it's geared toward people that don't have insurance. We have a lot of people, seniors, that are making those choices, and a lot of people that don't have insurance to make those choices. We just approached the $500 million in savings plateau nationally this year. That's a huge amount of savings that are taking place. There's plenty of information on the website, there's plenty of information on the booth, and it's free. They'll do all the printing, all the promotion, anything you want to do, get you out there. The thing is, there's some special benefits that we didn't realize when we started the program. I was in North Carolina giving a speech. I gave my speech and I sat down at the table that I was sitting at, and the guy said, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm a pharmacist. I said, oh, okay, here comes the story about you're killing my business, you're taking money out of my pocket, you're doing this to me, you're doing that to me. Because some independent pharmacists don't agree with that. You know, the answer to that question is, well, they're going to spend the money anyway, so if you get them into your store and you have Walmart with $4 prescriptions and all the other competing prescription programs out there, you still have an opportunity to sell them something else. So I was all set with all my answers to what he was going to say. He said, you know, this prescription drug card program is the greatest thing you guys ever did. I was blown away. I said, what? Why did you say that? He said, well, I'm going to tell you something. We fill about 1,000 scripts a week in our small community. We save people money. He said, but you're saving me, the pharmacist, $100 a month. And I said, how so? He said, my dog takes heart medicine. I use a prescription card to get his discount on his heart medicine. Now, we never intended that when the program started. But the key is that if you have pets, and those of us that have pets, you spend a lot of money on your pets, especially as they get older. That card is good for any people medicine that pets take, and most of the pets medicine is about the same. There's a little variations, but a lot of it is the same. So you can save yourself some money for your constituents, you can save yourself some money for your pets. So unintended consequences sometimes are great, other times they're not so good, but that's one of the good ones. Well, thank you for your participation. Thank you for your time in having me here. It's great to be home. There's only a couple places I can actually claim this. When I gave a speech in Delaware, that's where my family is originally from. But my family settled in Virginia, in Ralsburg. So when I come to Virginia, I can say I'm back home. because my family spent a lot of time in Ralsburg, several generations through there. And with public service, my great-great-great-grandfather was a county surveyor in Preston County. Now, when we started doing genealogy, I couldn't find Ralsburg, because I knew they were from Virginia. I'm like, what's going on? But one day, my wife decided that we would take the shortcut to DC, and we're going to take Route 50. So instead of taking the interstate, we took Route 50, and bingo, we got there, and there's a sign to Ralsburg. And the light went off, because the Civil War changed it from Ralsburg, Virginia, to Ralsburg, West Virginia. And here's two educated people that couldn't figure that out, because we never looked in West Virginia, until one day we were driving through and found it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lenny. A very good opportunity to hear about the importance of NACo and what it does for all of us as a partner with NACo in the community.